Your Excellency William Samoei Ruto, today let me speak directly to you. History in Africa has shown us how freedom can be destroyed. In Sierra Leone, where Kenyan military went to keep a peace mission, the UN played a very critical role in ensuring two things. One, total destruction of that country, and number two, some form of stability. When the younger generation said no, it led to atrocities, it led to militia groups where there was total chaos. Student leaders ended up becoming militia leaders. We know of people who were called snake because of the way they used to fight and bite. The reforms that the Gen Zs are talking about are reforms that, if you're wise, which I believe you are, do not take petty advice from people who don't give a hoot in hell about this country, are reforms that you can do them now when you're in power. The sword that you have repeatedly said, is not for cutting bread, but it's for offering proper leadership. If you do not take this chance, this country, the security, the freedoms that we know will eventually deteriorate to a point where, in history in Sierra Leone, they were being told, if you want a short sleeve or long sleeve, then your hands will be mutilated. Wise leaders act during times of crisis. The Gen Zs are saying, we don't want corruption. The Gen Zs are saying, we do need jobs. The Gen Zs are saying, we are tired of people living outside their means. We want Kenyans to live within our means. This is a beautiful country. And today, you have an opportunity to put those reforms when you are there. As I speak to you, Mr. President, I also want to speak to Kenyans. Freedom is something very good. It allows us to be able to roam around, build a country, and Kenya is a beautiful country. Let's not screw up. Let us not give unwise decisions to be able to lead us into chaos like other African countries have experienced. Members of Parliament, you have an opportunity this time. When President Ruto fired his entire cabinet, some of us were very concerned because there were good men and women who ended up being let go and they kept doing what they were asked to do. Any new appointment must now be scrutinized critically. We have to do a special life audit, look at the way their life has changed for the last 2 years that they have been in office, maybe 18 months. So that when you approve that, you can be able to do subsequent life changes audits to see how they have either raped your country or how they have maintained a fiduciary responsibility. It is President Ruto, members of Parliament who have an opportunity to be able to win the heart of the Gen Zs. It is us, colleagues in the Senate, colleagues in the National Assembly, who have to really now think outside the box to be able to bring these new changes. Finally, I want to reiterate on this issue of enslavement by the IMF and the World Bank. If you look at other African countries that have gone through these turmoils, their constitution, their laws, their rules, and even how, whether there is a new leader today or tomorrow, like Freetown, like Liberia, Charles Taylor was planted there by the UN. So not everyone should say the UN is good, but the UN is much better than the IMF and the World Bank. And I'm sure that is subject to criticism. Let us try to realign our own existing resources. Realign them to build our economy, and we live within our means. We can learn from other African countries that have gone through hell and back. Rwanda is a good example. So finally, today as you go out to the streets, remember this is our country and we have to fight until the last man standing to make sure that we retain peace in this country. Ponder that.